Welcome to your morning minute here on Cowboys Wire. 2017 training camp kicked off for the Dallas Cowboys, and in glorious Dallas Cowboys fashion, all hell broke loose. Monday morning, TMZ reported that wide receiver Lucky Whitehead had been arrested back in June, skipped a court date in July, on July 6th, and now has a warrant out for his arrest. His agent has come out and said that it wasn't Whitehead that was arrested for robbing a convenience store in the early morning hours of $40 worth of goods, which kind of makes sense considering how much money Lucky Whitehead makes. But all in all, the Cowboys said enough is enough. They weren't trying to hear the excuse. And because of previous transgressions and also having a replacement already in line to take his snaps anyway, Lucky Whitehead was released. When the Cowboys drafted Ryan Switzer, the NCAA career record holder for punt return touchdowns with 7, the writing was on the wall. He can do all of the gadget play stuff that Lucky Whitehead did. And on top of that, the reason that they were looking for somebody to replace Whitehead was because he really wasn't that great of a teammate, by the fact that last season he missed curfews, he had to be sat down for a game. Earlier this offseason, he had his dog kidnapped in some kind of crazy ransom thing that kind of went away. But this is basically another strike against a player who was on the fringe anyway. And it basically was a situation where he wasn't worth the negative attention that he was bringing to the team. He didn't contribute enough to overcome what was happening with him in the media world. On top of that, we saw finally the unveiling of Jalen Smith. And there were reports earlier in the day that during the walkthrough, he looked like he had a hitch in his step. But all of those fears were put to rest when the actual true training camp practice session happened later in the afternoon. And he was going full speed, and he looked like a complete beast out there, somebody that should be feared. Now, we don't know how long he'll be able to go in the regular season, if he's going to be able to do all types of snaps, all 3 downs sort of situation, but indications early were that Jalen Smith will definitely be a contributing part of this team. He was running with the second team behind Anthony Hitchens, so it'll be interesting to see how long that dynamic takes shape. Other than that, we got a lot of insight into who the guys to watch are going to be. Brian brought us a scout on DallasCowboys.com, was very complimentary of Stephen Paye, a free agent nose tackle who I think is going to have a very good chance to unseat Cedric Thornton as a starting defensive tackle next to Malik Collins. We had some inclination about what's going to be going on at right defensive end. A lot of guys were in rotation there. Benson Mayowa, last year's sack leader, DeMarcus Lawrence, Taco Charlton, Demontre Moore, free agent that they brought over that a lot of people have high hopes for, that finally turned the corner after previous stops in Seattle and New York. So there's a lot to unpack. We heard great things about Sean Lee's leadership, the cat and mouse game between the offense and the defense. The defense recognizes what the offense is doing. The offense then tries to change things up and trick the defense. And all in all, it just looks to be a very exciting time for the Cowboys. And everybody should just be ecstatic that we have football to talk about now. It's been a crazy offseason. We've all been inundated with Ezekiel Elliott off the field news, the NFL investigation, which Jerry Jones basically says there's absolutely nothing there with the DV accusations against him. But the NFL is still investigating, kind of trying to hold something over Zeke's head because he's gotten into a little bit of stuff off the field himself as well, but nothing to the degree of what Lucky Whitehead went through. So kill all that noise about, well, they kept Ezekiel Elliott, why would they cut Lucky Whitehead? Come on, y'all know what it is. The importance of the player and the level of the infractions do not match. Ezekiel Elliott was not arrested. He was not charged. Lucky Whitehead has missed a court date after being arrested. They're not the same thing, even though shoplifting is a much lesser crime than domestic violence. Ezekiel Elliott has not been charged. So that's it for your morning minute. You know what it is. I'm KD Drummond. Find me on Twitter, Cowboys Wire. Don't forget to check out our weekly podcast, Catch This Fade. Me and Patrick Walker giving you the barbershop feel. And of course, Cowboys Crunch Time still exists. Me and Keith Mullins giving you all the breakdown of what happens on the field, the X's and O's, and all of the player evaluation. You know what it is. Salute.